You bring up ADD, but also because I only know this because you've always made it a weapon. You've made it a tool. You've made it a positive and not a negative. But ADD and dyslexia, in terms of you not being able to read.
Reading at third grade level at the age of 30.
Yeah.
And I'll just give a little clip note there. I ended up going to LA at one point, as you know.
Yeah.
And I ended up in a surfing accident. Both of us wiped out into each other. This guy's named Bill Forte. We become super friends out of it. And you're dyslexic too? You got to go see Rose. She was at the Eris Learning Center in Culver City. She was 80 when she worked with him. She's now still there in 85.
Yeah.
And I don't mean in 85, I mean at 85 years old. She said, I took home more homework than anyone ever. Because whatever she was doing with all these things was making me be able to focus as opposed to, so I started to get better and better. And now I'm probably 6th grade level, but happy to have it. So the positive thing, this is not at all because it's me and him talking. First of all, I was very positive my whole life because I made shit happen. I set goals and I hit them. It gave me more confidence. And I realized, the glass can either be half full or half empty. Unfortunately, some people don't even have a glass. Mine was always half full.
Yeah.
But where it really pulled me out of it was watching your dad. Because I saw the behind scenes, and I'm not going to name names, but guys who just stabbed him in the back.
Yep.
And I had to breathe through that shit, man. And I would say to him, Dusty, how do you stay so positive? Because this is such an, the only way I know how to say it is like, sometimes it's the greatest thing we've ever done, and it's the worst shit we've ever been in.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. And never let them, don't ever sell it, D. Stay positive. You're gonna make it happen. Your background as a manager, you're a fire-breathing dragon manager. You're gonna be the greatest manager of all time. Like, this is shit he said to me.
Yeah.
And I'd watch it, I go, man, he is so good. And he did, and he had some dark times, as you know.
Oh my gosh.
And, he taught me a lot, but the biggest one, and I gotta do this, I tell the story all the time, but it's my favorite Dusty story. I am bitching up a storm at late 94 or so. I'm like 38 years old, and this book committee's they're never gonna see it in me. I'm like I'm at the top of the bottom at this point. And I'm just not going anywhere, no matter how hard I work, no matter what I do. And I am just bitching. And at some point I say, Dream, I know I'm never gonna be you or Rick or Hulk. I know I'm never going to be the world champion, but these suddenly went, got it, enough. And that never yelled at me before, ever. But that time he wanted to shut me up. He said, enough. What did you just say? I feel kind of stupid, like I'm now a Dream. I know I'm never going to be you or Rick. I didn't even get Hulk out. He goes, no, what did you say after that? I said, well, I'm never going to be the world champion. He said, then what the fuck are you doing it for? And I don't use that word. Can I use that word?
Oh, yeah.
That's what he said. He said, if you don't believe, D, as hard as you work, as much time as you put in the business, if you don't believe, how the hell is anybody else going to believe? If you don't believe, you need to get the fuck out of our business right now. And he kept going. But I've already felt like that, and I was like, whoa, you are so right. And right next to my answering machine, for those of you who are that old, was a pad. I pulled the pad over and I wrote, I will be the world champion in 5 years or less. It was 4 years, 4 months, and 14 days. The craziest part is I do a lot of cameos, right? And most of them are for people looking to be motivated. And I have to explain, it's not motivation, it's discipline. and explain, but I get a lot of those, right? And this is my go-to story, depending on what someone wrote me, because this is the most powerful story I have, because it changed my life dramatically. And I realize that I said to him, I'm never going to be you or Rick or Hulk.
Yeah.
Yet on April 11th, 1999, 6 days after my 43rd birthday, I step in the ring with Rick and Hulk and the Stinger. And I walk out the world champion. Yeah. And I didn't realize it till maybe the 15th or 50th time I told this story. I wish I had that cameo, because you see it rush across my face like a great actor who doesn't have to say anything, but all you need to do is see what you can see what he's thinking.
Discovering, yeah.
Right. And so, man, it was your dad. He made me go to that next level of belief in myself and staying positive. Like, that chokes me up. And I can see in your eyes, it chokes you up too. Well, that inner voice.
There's something that, there's a video that's out there. I send it to people every now and then. It's Gary Hart, of all people. And
Manager Gary Hart?
Manager Gary Hart. And he's talking about Dusty. And this video is so important to me. And people don't understand why. When I send it to them, I don't think they get why. Because I usually send it as my way of letting them know that you're in that territory now. But he's talking about Crockett and how it was a wasteland when Dusty got there. And the next thing you know, guys went from driving, Hondas with, matching rims that weren't matching.
Right.
So they're lined up at the Mercedes. Right. The next thing you know, they've traded in their duffels for Louis Vuittons. And then all that wealth and prosperity. And when it got bad, the same guy they blamed for it being good, it's now his fault.
Right.
And he specifically said the words, no loyalty. And Heyman, that's the real reason I can never fully turn the corner on disliking Mr. Heyman, because he has the same story. So there's this bond over it, but it's also created in me. Maybe it is actually a little bit of the negativity, but it's created in me. It's why I try to document everything. Because I'm not having any motherfucker rewrite my story.
Right.
And when I hear about shit, like, y'all weren't there.
Right.
I was there. If you need me to be the scapegoat for your bullshit, go ahead. But like, you won't do that to me the same way you did it to him. And he didn't have the luxury.
Right.
One of the reasons I love this podcast, I tell people I don't, but one of the reasons I love it, because it's out there.
Right.
I can put this out there. You heard it. And it's a Cody lie and all that. No, buddy. In this information age, the receipts are out there. Right. Does it fit your narrative? No. Is your favorite wrestler not involved? But I was, probably. But it's why I am the way I am. And I'll take it even further. It's why Teal and I are so close. Because have you ever seen Game of Thrones?
Of course.
So Arya Stark says the names.
Right.
So I'm a lot more diplomatic about it. Teal's not.
Right. She'll just cut your throat.
Teal at the end of the day, it's hard when I'm like, hey, I talked to such and such. She's like, yeah, I remember what he did to Dad.
Right.
Like, ooh.
She got like a steel grip memory.
But it balances each other out.
Right.
Because that's not my job to carry his battles.
Right.
If anything, it's my job when I come across those people to let me change the turf. How are you? Like there's been plenty. I remember Honky Tonk Man went on this whole shoot about Dusty. It's his opinion. He's trying to be entertaining. It's not the end of the world. But when I met him, I made sure I was the nicest person to him.
Right.
Because whatever that was, it's ending right now.
Right.
He ain't working with you, and I'm not working with you either.
Right.
So, but I think I'm just kind of, it's uncovering it as you're talking about it, but he was like you in that nothing could shake him. And I don't know, it's because it was so much at one point, so much blame, so much this, so much that finally becomes, you know what? You're going to be the best manager. You're going to be the world champion, because he really did have that. You could say, and the same thing happens at Comeback Studios. People come to you with the most unreasonable shit. And they come to you, sorry, there's a lot of cursing on this one, I apologize. But they come to you, people that maybe I don't even like, and that their story's rough, and their climb back's gonna be tough. But you never let anyone go out of there thinking they can't do it. You never tell anyone, like, I don't think so, buddy. I don't think so. And that's just amazing. There ain't enough of that in wrestling. And Dusty was the same way. Somebody tell him the most ridiculous thing. Yeah, I think you can do it. Yeah, I remember there was a guy who was a janitor talking about becoming an astronaut. And I couldn't believe that when my dad was like, I don't know about, like, is there a school, like an astronaut school or a book? You guys are actually talking. Yeah, you guys are actually talking about this. Like, guys, start smaller. Like, I don't want to knock this guy's, but I'd sit in a lot of those rooms or in the car when he'd be talking to people and thinking, like, that's just a skill. That's just like, I don't know if maybe I never knew him when it was so bad, and it's later in life, which is why Teal and I carry it forward. You know, like, maybe I didn't know him well enough to know what happened. But by the time I got to him, literally, you could do anything. Like, and that's, you're around, and you're a prime example. He didn't lie to you, and that maybe that's the thing about positivity. You're not lying to anybody because it's on you.
Right.
It's not lying. You're not lying to anybody to tell them, I think you can do that. Because again, you had mentioned if they just do
the work,
if you just do the work, which is why we're all over the place here. There's going to be a second half to this, I'm sure, but it's why when you sent me to Howard Fine Acting Studio, which is so important. And every day that goes on, I realize how much I got out of just 12 months of his lessons.
But he loved you too, and
I
to
loved
bring
him.
you in, I know you did, and to bring you into the inner sanctum. Like, I'll just call him once in a while, just go, "What's up, H?" We'll just shoot the shit.